Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today we are going to start off the week with a request, which means we're also ending the week with a request because I only have 4 series going until the last week of January when I will have 5 series running continually. Today we have a request that honestly I've been kind of thinking about watching myself anyway because I heard it was good and I wanted to see it in theaters, but I don't remember when it came out, but I remember I was busy so I wasn't able to go see it. But today we're going to be talking about Rocketman. Rocketman was released in 2019, so relatively recently, and it was written by Lee Hall and directed by Dexter Fletcher. So I just watched this movie. For those of you who have Amazon Prime, it's free on Amazon Prime. It's also free on Hulu. I watched it on Hulu. So if you have Hulu or Amazon Prime, you can watch it right on there. And it's a good movie. I've been meaning to watch it for a long time. It's been on my list for a while, like as a personal, like this is what I want to watch kind of thing. But I have never gotten around to it. I have a lot of stuff I want to watch, and I'm very happy that someone requested this. So shout out to Bryce for requesting this. If you also would like one of your favorite movies or least favorite movies, I don't mind watching bad movies for you guys. Drop it down in the comments down below and say what you want me to watch, and I'll review it over the next coming months. And join the Facebook group. And in the Facebook group, you can also just type right on there to add a post, and I will go ahead and respond and make sure I add it right to the list every single time, right here on these little sticky notes. I add it right there as soon as I get into the request. So make sure you drop in those in the comments down below. But I watched Rocketman today. It's about 2 hours long. And if you don't know what Rocketman's about, essentially it's about Elton John, Sir Elton John now, but it's about Elton John before he was Sir Elton John, and before he was super famous. So it was about Reginald Dwight, which is his actual name, and it's from him going from a young boy until he became famous. It's that whole, like, span. I'm not entirely sure exactly when the movie ends timeline-wise, which is one of my issues with the movie, is that it really doesn't tell you where you are in time. It's like, okay, he's a boy, he's a teenager, and now he's an adult. And then he's an adult for a while. And I know that, like, he was married to a woman for, like, 4 years, and it was, like, 20 minutes in the movie, and I just feel like if we're really going to have that be a thing, we should have timestamps at least. Like, we should be like, alright, this is 1988, this is 1990, and like really go by that way. That way I can keep a track where we are in time, because it became extremely, extremely difficult to like keep track of where we were in time, so I don't know where we ended. I don't know where the movie ends. All I know is I did not see the Queen in the movie, so I assumed that it was not. Sorry for all the distractions in my household. But all I know is that we didn't see the Queen, so I'm assuming it's before he becomes Sir Elton John. But it's that entire wingspan beforehand. So one movie that this like kind of reminded me of was Bohemian Rhapsody. Which is the movie about Queen. It's mainly about Freddie Mercury more so than it's about Queen. If you want me to review that movie, drop it in the comments down below. I wouldn't mind watching it again. I liked it a lot. But a big negative for me in this movie is that we don't really have timestamps, so I really don't know where we are at any point in the movie. However, the movie itself was really great. I enjoyed watching it. I had fun. And I enjoyed watching all the musical scenes and like all that stuff. I liked the backstory behind Reginald Dwight. I liked the entire story. I do think they might have overplayed some of the parts and underplayed some of the other parts. Like, we see him drinking a lot, which is a big deal. But he also struggled with his sexuality a lot, which I feel like we could have seen more of in the movie. Like, we kind of talk about it a little bit, and then he has to confront his parents a little bit, which is very dramatic, which is good. I like the drama in that, as it should be dramatic. Well, I guess it shouldn't be, but it was dramatic. I'm sure it was. But maybe playing with that a little bit more and understanding, like letting me understand, because I'm not in that situation, so it's like it's difficult to fully put yourself in their shoes, you know. Like, I understood that he was an alcoholic, and like we got to that part in the end of the movie where we're like, okay, wow, he's an alcoholic, he's in rehab. We start the movie with him in rehab, and then we kind of get to that point. I don't know if he actually went to rehab. I know that some parts of the movie are kind of fictional, but for the most part, it does follow his timeline. And we do know that for sure because Sir Elton John himself is an executive producer, and the whole movie ran by him before it was released. Because this is an odd circumstance where they're making a biopic about someone who's still alive, which is quite interesting. I personally would not have chosen to make the movie until he was gone, simply because then we can have a full-length movie about his entire life instead of just this part. Because now if they want to make a biopic in the future when he is gone, it'll be more difficult to kind of stray away from the actual Rocketman movie. Like, for instance, in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, we see the entire lifespan of Freddie Mercury, instead of in this movie where we see him until he's like, I don't know, maybe mid-30s. He's in his 70s now, so a lot has happened in that time. And they're going to have a hard time, I think, adapting to making a part 2 of the movie after he's gone, I guess. But even then, I don't know if they're going to want to do that. If they do, I'll watch it. I enjoyed this movie. I really had a good time. One thing I want to mention before I talk about acting is the rating. So this is rated R, which in my opinion, I think with the content they put in there, it should be rated R. Not due to the sexuality kind of issues, because at this point, that's like, they didn't show anything explicit, so it really wasn't a problem. But the swearing was kind of the main issue. There was a lot of F-bombs, which is fine. I don't have a problem with F-bombs, obviously. But I think it was kind of a risk, and honestly, it might have actually made it so they didn't make as much money as they could have. If they just not included the F-bombs, which in my opinion aren't important to the story of the film. I know a lot of movies where like it's important to have that kind of stuff in there, but for this one it felt like they were just kind of throwing them out there because they were like, oh, it's rated R, we might as well just throw them as many as we want in there. They could have kind of went back on that a little bit and then made it a PG-13 rating, which I think would have been better for the general populace, because at this point, teenagers love this movie, right? Like, this is all up in their genre, especially now that we're bringing all old music back, you know? And so I feel like that was kind of more of a wasted opportunity to not do it as PG-13 instead of rated R. But let's quickly talk about the acting. So first of all, Taron Egerton as Elton John. So he, I read, actually did sing every song on the album that was in the movie, which, good for you, because it's fantastic. It's almost unrecognizable between the two. So props to you for that. That's fantastic. Overall, I think his performance is great. The performances by the children were also fantastic. I actually really enjoyed them a lot. Equal to how much I enjoyed Taron's performance, Egerton's performance. Overall, I think that he did a fantastic job, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that, you know, Sir Elton John himself did executively produce the movie, so he was on top of things and understood exactly what he was supposed to do in the film. And I think he did a really good job portraying all of that, and he does a really good job portraying, like, sadness and, like, upsetness, because it's always hard to, like, show that you're sad without saying you're sad, and, like, he did a really, really phenomenal job. Overall, some of the best acting that I've seen in my recent years. Jamie Bell as Bernie, who is the writer. So for those of you who don't know, Elton John does not write his own music. He writes his own music. He doesn't write his own lyrics. His friend Bernie does that. And Bernie does a great job of being Elton John's friend while also kind of being, you know, his own person. Because when you're friends with someone, like, popular, like, they want you to be with them forever. But Bernie's like, I want to go home and, like, take time for my family and, like, do my own thing. And so there's a lot of drama there, kind of. And I really enjoyed it. I thought he did a fine performance. Richard Madden as John Reed, who is the bad guy love interest, kind of. Essentially, once Elton John finds out that he's gay, he finds this man named John who says that he can manage him and be in a relationship with him, which is always a bad idea, but he's also a very awful person. He's very mean to Elton John, and I think his performance was fine. I honestly wasn't super stoked about his performance. It wasn't, like, super good or anything, but it wasn't bad, so that's always good. It was like fine. I mean, I also think that maybe his performance was fine, but wasn't as good as Egerton's performance, and therefore it just looks a little bit worse. those are all the actors I kind of want to talk about. Just the goods and the bads. Everyone else is fine. I had no problems. Nobody sucked me out of the film, like, so that's good. I was able to maintain being in the film without looking at me like, oh, that's really bad. So good for you. Overall, a solid movie. I enjoyed it. I had fun. I loved the musical numbers. I just think that maybe some parts were a little bit too slow and some too fast. Like, we should have focused a little bit more on the sexuality issues and maybe a little bit less on the alcoholism, although I understand why they had to because it was part of the beginning of the film. I think the rating is just kind of a waste, which is really, really unfortunate. But overall, a solid movie. I had a good time watching it. There's just a couple things that were, like, kind of meh. But overall, I'm going to have to give this movie a B+. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week. As always, links in the description below to add to the Facebook group. Do that. Subscribe, please. It would really help me out. Join the Facebook group. Subscribe. Like the video. Comment down below what you want. Whoa! I started. I'm sorry. What you'd like to see next. And as always, keep watching movies and television. Stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.